You want to be a content master, but you have no clue how to start, what to say, which content and kind of content to choose. So today we're going to talk about this with an amazing content scientist. And you will learn how to use intention and grab attention to make the perfect content. Stay tuned because I'll be back. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another the special marketing live show. And today we're gonna have this amazing guest. For me, it's one of the most amazing content creators on LinkedIn. I love each piece of video he releases. It's amazing how he can make it so good, so well done, so with such a powerful message and in a short time, which is for me something very interesting. And we gonna learn how to we can make also this impactful content when we can grab people attention and also put so much intention in content, because I think it's one of the things sometimes we lack. Okay, we do this very interesting content, it's insightful, it's entertaining, but we have no intention on what we do, what we want to make people to make, what next step. Are that clear to our uh, viewer? Well, so today we're going to have Alex with us to share this idea. Okay, let's see if he's there. He's on his dungeon. Okay, let's bring him to the screen. Hello,
What's
Alex.
going on? What's going on? How are you?
I'm good, and you? First of all,
Doing well.
thank you so much for being here. I think it's very hard for you to be away from your laboratory
Literally, yeah, literally.
and your experiments. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Alex. I know you know. I truly like your content. I recommend. The other day, I made a shout out in a podcast I do in Spanish for people to follow you, because I think you're one of the most creatives and insightful content creators on LinkedIn. I think everybody should look at your content. And so for me, it's truly a pleasure and an honor to have you here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will ask you, Alex, for you to introduce yourself, and then we can start the conversation, if you don't mind.
Awesome. I appreciate the intro, and I appreciate you shouting me out on the podcast too. It means a ton. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk to you. My name is Alex B Sheridan. I'm founder of a company called Impacts Marketing. We help small businesses, founders, entrepreneurs win clients on social media and build industry-leading brands.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I think this content thing is the thing by these days. I think we don't have to keep selling the content idea, because I think people understand the importance and they should do it and everything. But I think one of the problems is I don't know where to start. And because, for instance, I look at your videos, we have to have so many ideas, because which topic will we explore today? Okay, uh, how will you present it to the public? Which step, which CTA do you want to put it, even though it's explicit or not, at the end? How do you structure your process? I think it's one of, for me, it's one of the most intriguing things.
Yeah, the content strategy, the
Yes.
content process. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're new to putting out content, or you're a business owner, or you're an employee even, and you're thinking about putting out content for the very first time, and you haven't done much of it before, one, you could hire some help, right? You could hire somebody that's proven, that's done it, that knows how to get results. But if you don't, if you're just doing it on your own, I'll give you some actionable advice. I mean, the first thing you want to do is think about who is your target audience. Who are the people that you're putting out content for? Because certainly there's your own flavor, there's your personality that shines through. You shouldn't have to have that in there. But you need to think about the audience, that the community that you're trying to build. So what do they care about? What do they struggle with? What are their challenges? And then how can you come on a place like LinkedIn or provide content and value that speaks to those people, that helps those people? You give away your tips, your strategies, your advice. You can entertain, you can motivate. There's a ton of different ways to do it. So you need to think about your audience and what you're trying to accomplish. What is the goal? Am I trying to make them feel a certain way? Am I trying to drive traffic? Am I trying to start conversations offline, which hopefully you are? That definitely, you need to think about the outcomes and what you want to accomplish long term. But you also need to think about your brand. What is it that you represent? What is it how are you going to connect with your audience? Maybe you already have a really good brand from being in business for a certain period of time. And it's just making sure that brand shows up on social media and in your content and on your profile. If you're a newer business owner or an entrepreneur or founder of a company, and maybe you haven't put a lot of time into the brand, you need to start there. What is the brand values? What does it mean to work with you? Why are you in the business in the first place? What does it mean? And so once you get past that, then you've got to think about, okay, the content origin. Where is the content going to come from? And this is where a lot of people struggle, because they're like, we were talking about this a little bit behind backstage, but it's like, where's the content going to come from in the first place? And when you don't have a process, when you don't have something to say, okay, Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesday I'm going to do this, Wednesday I'm going to do this, or whatever days you're going to post, when you're all over the place and you're not organized and you're trying to come up with a post last minute. Okay, I got to get out a post today. I haven't posted in 3 days. What should I talk about? Well, let me see. The sky's blue. People really start struggling when they feel like they're behind, and then they have to last minute come up with posts. So what happens is people either don't post, or two, they do, but the quality is just not very good, or it's not as good as it could have been. And so figuring out where the content's going to come from. Are you going to write it out certain days? Are you going to film on certain days? Are you going to do a selfie video and record that? Are you going to write text posts, but how many times are you going to do them, and where's it going to come from? It's a great opportunity to take a podcast or a LinkedIn Live like this, or a Zoom call with the client or a prospect, and boom, record that. That could be where some of your content comes from. And then you've got to think about the creative of it, right? So how are you going to take a piece of content and make it stand out, and make it to where people want to engage with it, make it to where it does convert to offline conversations, to customers? And now we're talking copy, writing good copy, making sure the first couple lines really stand out, grab people's attention. The videos, it's the first 3 to 5 seconds you engage people. And once we get past the creative, then we get to the distribution. And that's where it's like, okay, where are we going to where do we want to push the content out? And then to take it a step further, how do we make sure that content gets distributed on a place like LinkedIn, for example, to more people than just ourselves and maybe a couple followers, right? So there's a couple different elements to that. It's engaging with other people's content. It's, knowing the times to post and when to post and that kind of stuff too.
Perfect. I have a provocative. I will throw you some provocative questions, and this one is one of them. Usually we think about LinkedIn as a gray space. It's for business, where entertaining and funny may not be the right tone to make things. Did you thought about this when you started? Because I believe that being funny and entertaining doesn't mean anything about your being good or not. But I think that for so many people, seeing your videos on LinkedIn, they may see, how do you see this situation? Because I think one of the problems people may face when they want to start, okay, I don't have gray tone, that corporate tone that some people think it's the right way to be on LinkedIn?
People confuse professionalism with inappropriate. That's actually what's happening. People are confusing professionalism with being inappropriate. There's a difference between, like, let's take it off social media, for example, and let's just say you're speaking on stage, right? It's inappropriate for me to get on there. And if I'm speaking to an audience about maybe becoming better at sales or becoming a better leader, it's inappropriate if I was brought on stage to talk about that and I crack jokes for 30 minutes, or I point at the audience and I start making fun of people. That stuff is not professional. It's inappropriate. There's not a place for it, right? It just doesn't belong there. But what would work and what is professional but creative and a little bit innovative is making that audience laugh, is making that audience smile, is evoking an emotion in them. It's telling a good story. It's interacting with the crowd. It's getting them really engaged. And that's all the type of content that I put out there. And some of the things that I encourage people to do is to evoke emotion. We're human beings. We're very emotional creatures. We want to feel things. We want to look, see, and feel things and interact with people and build community. And that's all you're trying to do with your content. So again, I don't try to put out anything that I think would be disrespectful or that would be inappropriate or that would be unprofessional. But what I do put out is things that are going to make people feel a certain way, things that may make people smile or laugh or motivated or feel inspired or feel like they want to go take action now. Those are the type of things that I think really do well when it comes to content, whether it's a text post or it's a video or it's a picture. Evoking emotion in your content is important to do. And the same thing applies towards sales or public speaking or whatever you're doing, storytelling. You've got to find a way to bring that out, but that doesn't equal unprofessional. We need to get the record straight on that.
Absolutely. And I can guarantee to you and to those who are watching us that you can do everything at the same time in the same piece of content, which entertain.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And you nailed it. You nailed it lots of times. And I want to talk about this also because the other day you mentioned the importance of this, but you put in names on this, and I didn't have names for this before I watched that video, which is about the difference between primary and secondary content, and the important, because you said that so well. I said, okay, I have to bring this conversation to my show because it is very important, the both type of content, right, Alex?
Exactly, man. And I think of your primary content. I say primary, they're both equally as important, right? But I say primary
Absolutely.
because the primary content is the content that you're spending more time on. You're really developing an entire thought. That's what you post. That's the text post, the video, that kind of stuff. The secondary content is very, very important. And that's the type of mini content or comments or thoughts or insights that you leave on other people's posts. And the biggest mistake that people make when they get on here is they want to try to hack the system. What's the one thing I can do right now to be successful on LinkedIn? Like tomorrow, that's how people think. And it's like, well, I'm going to automate everything. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hire they try to find all these tips and tricks. And I can, if I just post and automate my post now and I'm fine. There is no hack to it. If you want to find success long-term, ask anybody that's actually lived it and done it and gotten results. You have to build a community. It has to be about relationships. Yes, there's a content element to it where you got to learn that you got to understand how to put out good quality content consistently. And I mean, things that drive traffic, that get engagement, that, make people feel a certain way. You've got to have a social selling strategy if you're on here to win business. How do you connect and engage? And what do you say when you engage? And how do you send, messages, video messages, personalized messages? There's that strategy to it for sure. But it's really about building relationships, building a community. That's what caused people to want to interact with you because you get to know them a little bit. And I think that's the part that people just want to try to figure out the fastest way there. Well, the fastest way there, really, it's not about, like, you can't get there overnight. There is no fast track to there, in 2 weeks. Like, you can get there in a few months, but you've got to put in the work, and you've got to treat that digital platform. Remind yourself that it's a piece of technology, LinkedIn, it's a digital platform, but the people that are on it are humans. So don't interject robots into something where humans are intermingling.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's important. And you were talking, and I was thinking about this kind of posts. Look, um, If you are from Spain, put a heart. If you are from Portugal, put your clap hands. And if you are for it's genius. And I say, oh my God, but okay, this may generate some engagement, but what else? You know, there's this and tap the image twice, and you will see what happens. But also I want to talk about this on mostly on secondary content, which you talked, and for me it's I think it's one of the missing things I think it's in almost all the platforms, but as LinkedIn it's a working platform, a professional platform. I think it's even more important to do this, which is uh, I think, and you mentioned this thing about, okay, when I'm about to release a content, I go strategically commenting some posts to bring attention to my presence, and then
Yeah.
I release the. Can you stress the importance of this kind of engagement, Alex, please?
Well, when you think about your engagement strategy, which you do have to have, you should have one if you're trying to win business. A good engagement strategy, it's two parts, right? One of it is building, you're engaging with people that are maybe colleagues or partners, or they've become friends. You built relationships with them. They're very active on LinkedIn, right? So they're posting at least once a day or at least a few times a week. And so you guys can help each other out, and you learn from those people. You build relationships with those people. They refer people to you, and you build connections, and you get to know someone else that knows them. And so there's all kinds of good things that can come from that. I've met literally lifelong friends on LinkedIn that I text every single day. You know, that I'm meeting up with 10 to 15 people that I met strictly on LinkedIn that have become clients of mine in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever it is now in Nashville. We're actually meeting in person for the first time since, COVID. Well, it's really exciting. So I think you got to be able to, again, build those relationships on LinkedIn. But the other side of it is that if you want to win business on LinkedIn, your engagement strategy has to be focused on engaging with that target audience. So that's what Sales Navigator is really great for. It's the best modern day, I think it's the best modern day social selling tool, hands down, bar none, that we have available at our fingertips. Like Sales Navigator is where it's at. You can go in there, you can specifically connect with your target audience. The search results are amazing in terms of how you can niche it down. You can go by, individual, company, revenue count, head count, growth, multiple job titles. Like, it's insane. Posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. There's all types of things that you can do in there. And then you can build lead lists out, and you can I've created this whole social selling process around it where it's seamless, and you can go in there and spend not a ton of time, but do really maximize your time spent and make sure that it translates to offline conversation. And so you got to spend some time, again, building relationships, friendships, people that you help, they help you. You get to know, you never know where that can lead. And then some of your time's got to be spent targeting those specific target customers who fit your customer profile. And you're connecting, engaging, and messaging those folks, because those are the folks that are going to keep the business going, because they're going to turn into customers.
Absolutely. And there's this situation. I think for some years ago, we are saying, we are listening, we are seeing, okay, this year would be the video year. It will be the trend. And I'm truly a video believer, of course. I think maybe you might believe that so. And I have two questions for you, because why video? It's a format you should consider on your strategy. Which advantages do you see? And also, and for me, this is important, because sometimes we see those people, okay, it's the only way is by doing video. And on the other side, people, okay, but I don't want to make video.
Yeah.
It's not for me. And I think we should respect that and be acknowledge that. And okay, because for instance, I think your favorite way is video, but you don't do just video, right?
Correct.
So
yeah, I mean, yeah, video evokes so many emotions, right? Because as human beings, we were brought on this earth, however you think that we got here, but we are here to use our senses, right? We see, we touch, we feel, we listen, And so when you're talking about video, it's unique because a text post, you get to see and you can kind of read the words and you interpret it your own way, right? And with audio, you listen. So again, there's some advantages to it where maybe you can craft your own kind of visuals and stories, and the same thing with reading books and things of that nature. But when you talk about the human to human connection, video, there's just nothing that can compete with it, unless you're talking VR or something else. We get to see who you are. We get a feel for the nonverbals, if you're smiling or not, how you interact with people, your eye contact, we get a feel for your personality a little bit, how so I think there's nothing more powerful than hopping on video. It's just like the same exact thing in sales, right? If you could choose, if you had, let's say an hour to close a deal with the client, you had never met them before as a brand new client, you have 1 hour to close a client, what do you do? And so if we had to choose between, I can meet this person in person and I can do it handshake and I can get to know them, their goals, where they're trying to go, and then how I might be able to, challenges, why I might be able to help them get there. Or you could choose a call like this, like a video call, or you could choose just an audio phone call, or you could choose typing over email or text. Like 100% of the time, every single person would choose in person first, right? And where would they go second? Video, because I can see you, I can read you. There's a different level of connection that we have right now where I can see and hear you. It's almost like we're in person. We're just thousands of miles away,
Yeah.
And so, but it's a little bit, maybe a quick 8-hour flight.
Absolutely.
But it's as close as we can get to it, though. Then I would, after that, people would probably pick, well, I'd love to, if I can't see somebody, I'd like to at least hear them so I can overcome objections or work through their challenge, that kind of stuff. And then lastly, we would choose to work it through text or email. So it's the same thing in content, but to your point, not everyone wants to do video. Not everyone's strengths are on video. And that's why I also encourage people to do text post. If you're a good artist and you can draw, throw some drawings on there, have a good message behind it. If I could draw really well, I'd be throwing out drawings once a week. No question about it. I don't know why we don't see more stuff on people that are really good artists. The key is you can't just drop a random Mickey Mouse picture. Like, you got to have a message behind it. You got to have it, make sure that it resonates with your audience. But I encourage people to explore their creativity and their natural gifts in any way that they can do it. I do think video should, to some capacity, you should try to make video a part of your strategy, because I think at some point it's great for people to see you and connect with you on that level. But do you need to do 2 to 3 videos a week? Absolutely not.
Absolutely. And you came, you brought to the conversation something which for me it's very important, which is creativity. One of the myths about creativity, it's you're born with creativity in you. It's kind of a gift you have, and or you have or you don't have. It's impossible to develop creativity. Alex, tell our millions of people in the audience.
Yeah.
Does your first video was so creative as the last one?
Oh man, going back to my first few videos, man, they were just not good at all. Not good at all. But I get asked that question, like people will be like, creativity, is it something that you're born with, or can you actually build that skill? Is it something that you can learn? And it's just like anything, like there's a little bit of both, right? It's part DNA and who you are and your natural talents and your personality. And it's a big part, and it's also a big portion of what you do with it and how you build the skills and the talents that you do have. So I think some people are naturally good at certain things. So it makes sense to gravitate towards what those things are if you enjoy them and build those up, because you're naturally going to be better than most people. But I think about when I first started, my first few videos were absolutely terrible. And even when I started getting into the creative videos, if you go back and look at the ones, the edits, the way I brought the message together, the characters, the acting, none of it was even close to what it was today. And if you go back 2 years ago, if you would have like handed me a camera 2 years ago and been like, yo, make some creative videos, like make some good content, like make some decent content to post on LinkedIn, I would have been like, I literally don't know how to do that. Like, what do you want me to just like point the camera at me and start talking? I have no clue how to make a piece of content. That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, right? So that's not 5 years ago. It's not 10 years ago. It's not a decade ago. 2 years ago, I didn't know how to make a piece of video content. So I think that should inspire people. But what did I do? I didn't shoot a couple videos. They sucked. And then I just gave up. And I was like, you know what? Maybe video is not for me. I'm not that great at it. I was like, I dedicated myself, and I'm like, I'm going to commit to becoming a good video content creator. I thought that I had something naturally, and I thought that this was going to be the future, and it certainly is playing out that way, especially with COVID. And so I was like, I'm going to commit to this craft. It's a skill. And I started putting out videos and videos and videos and videos and videos, and then 10 videos, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 150, 200, you know, and pretty soon over time, I made progress. I got better. I learned. I made a lot of bad videos that I was embarrassed to post afterwards. I made some videos that literally I would post. They did bad. I knew they were crap. It wasn't just because they didn't do well, but I just felt inside they were crap for whatever reason, right? And I took them down, right? There were videos that I've made before that I've literally produced almost all the way through, like ready to post. I scrapped the entire thing because they just sucked. Like the message was all over the place. It wasn't clear. Like there was just something about it that I was like, this isn't up to my standards and I'm not going to post it. So I say all that to not to try to convince people to overthink their content. I think you need to get out content. The way I started and how I got better was I just continued to put out content. I continued to make videos. I failed. I made mistakes. I learned. I applied it to the next time I made a video. I'd make a couple, make a big time mistake. Then I'd take that mistake, apply it to the next one. I'd learn, I'd move on. 100, 150, 200 videos later, I got to a point where I'm like, now I'm in a really good rhythm where I feel like every video I put out on Monday, the creative videos, good storyline. I know how to pack the value and the message still creatively and entertain. And from an entertainment perspective, under 3 minutes for the most part. I know how to write a quick script now, where I just didn't know how to do that before. There's so many things that I just didn't know before that I never would have got to this place had I not gotten in and worked on my craft and really built the skill.
Absolutely. And this leads me to the next provocative question, which is
I can't take any more, man. I'm out of here. This is crazy.
This sucks.
You got to hit me with something. Hit me with something really good. Yeah, hit me with something good.
Well,
let's go.
I don't know if you saw this. There's a guy on LinkedIn which has videos that someone is throwing fireballs to another person.
No, I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen that.
Alex, don't you think that when people looks at your videos and they say, oh my God, this guy is so good doing this, I will never do the videos this way. This couldn't be some type of, maybe excuse, maybe fear to not starting with videos?
Well, one, I don't ever look at my videos. It's from a third party's perspective. It's always different, right? Like the way you listen to music, the way you watch a film is different than the person who created it, right? We always have a very constructive eye, a heavy criticism type eye that we have on our own stuff. So I never really get to a place. Thankfully, I'm humble enough to where, even though it may not come across that way, I'm humble enough to where I never think that my stuff is so great and that there's nothing.
Believe me,
I really don't. And I put the people that support me are on the pedestal. I'm not on the pedestal. Like if my supporters don't support the content, there virtually is no content. So that's why I'm so gracious, and I'll spend time with people and I support the hell out of people. I'm jumping in the comments, showing a lot of love. I'm too big for this, or I'm too big. Like that's just not how I roll at all. But I am self-aware enough to realize that, yes, if I was just starting off making videos, or if I was earlier on in my journey or hadn't done the type of stuff I'm doing now today after making all the mistakes I've made, then yeah, I would look at it. And I'm even me 12 months ago might be like, man, this is kind of intimidating. Like, I don't know about this, like there's a lot going on and it seems really well done. And could I do something like that? And the first thing I'll say is, look, you don't need to do something like that. That's my style. That's what I do. So that's first and foremost. I'm not asking people to do what I do. I just encourage people to unleash their own creativity, whether it's making selfie videos or green screen or text posts or pictures or whatever it is. You got to find out what's best for you and continue to, again, build that skill. But the second thing is I also put out a wide variety of different content. So Monday is a creative video where it's well done, green screen, scripted, that kind of stuff. I have a great time with those. I just have fun making those and they always do really well. On Tuesday, it's a LinkedIn Live, completely different format. It's raw, it's live, it's uncut. Wednesday is an interview type clip. Like I'll take a couple things from this live today and chop that up, have it edited and put that as a piece of content, a quick 1 minute clip or 30-second clip, whatever it is. And then Thursday, I'm doing a text post typically. And then Friday, I'm doing a selfie video where there's no captions, no headlines, no thumbnails, none of that stuff. And I do that because for two reasons. One, I want to inspire people that there's more than one way to unleash your creativity, that you can do it a million different ways. So I come at you 5 times a week from 5 different angles. So what's your excuse not to try something? You know? And the second reason is that I don't want to overly leverage myself in one place. Just like I don't want to overly leverage myself in LinkedIn, one social platform, one particular piece of content. I want to make sure that I'm trying different things so I know what works and what doesn't work. I've tested and tried different things, but I don't want to put myself in a box and be like, I only make these kind of videos. I only do these types of text posts. Like, that is limiting yourself. You're putting yourself in a box. And what if something happens to that particular style of content? It starts to fade. It doesn't get, there's a new platform that's super hot and they don't allow you to do text. Or there's a super hot platform, but there's no video content. There's Clubhouse, you know? So like, I always think about, again, that's why it goes back to building a real community, relationships, building an actual brand that's recognizable, and testing and trying things so you're not overly leveraged in one area.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something that for me it's very important when we are so exposed in a good way, not that like, look at me, no, by bringing good content which stand out and everything. It's being humble, because I think the very next day, or even the very day you start being noticed as someone who's being arrogant, you lose.
Yes. And it's funny, man, I still, you know, I'm very confident in myself. And I think I have a lot of self-confidence and self-esteem. And I think that's a great thing to have. I love myself. I wasn't always that way. I learned to love myself over time. It took a lot of challenging times to get there. But that I think is great. I'm very confident in what I do. I go up against anyone and I think I'm going to crush them, you know, that's fine. Right. But to be arrogant crosses that line. And that's where I think for me, it's like, you know, I'll get on calls with somebody or be in a Clubhouse or just on a DMs, whatever it is. And they'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe like you reached out to me. And I'm thinking like, what is it? What do you mean? Like, I'm just on LinkedIn putting out content. I'm growing a business, you know, like I'm nobody's more special than anyone else, you know? But I think it just, when you're in this position, some people let it get to their heads for sure. But I think for a lot of us, the more humble folks, for us, it happened over time. Right. It wasn't like, you know, if I would have came out of nowhere, I've never done videos before. And then boom, tomorrow I'm doing the videos like I do on Monday. People would be like, what? Like, you know, that'd be crazy. Right. But it was a process. I've been on the journey this entire time. I've seen all my mistakes. I've seen all my failures. I've seen me self-doubt. I've seen me worry about things. I've seen me wonder if I'm going the right direction. I've doubted all kinds of, I've almost went so many different directions before. I'm glad I sort of stayed the path I'm on. I saw all of that. And so for me, it's like the truth, right? So when someone says like, oh my gosh, Alex, I didn't think, you know, I've seen some of your videos, and they treat it kind of like that, a little like mini celebrity kind of status. For me, I'm just like, I just go back to like, I'm just the kid who got on there and started putting videos out and didn't know what he was, you know, because I lived it, right? That's my truth. It happened over time. I still feel like that same person that just started his business.
And for me, that's a kind of a need. I have no problems with that. Usually, when people say, "Oh, video, you know, it's hard, it's expensive, it's blah 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 blah," and I say, "Stop. Yeah. Let me show you the first video I recorded with my cell phone some years ago. Look at this."
Yeah.
And I say it. Look, if at the end of this training, your video is, I don't know, I don't say it worse as this, is worse as like this, bad as this, I will get very frustrated. Because, you know,
what?
I was, yeah.
And you know what? I'm so sick of people saying that something's hard. Like, it's too hard. This is very challenging. Yeah, no kidding, it is. What isn't that's actually worth going out there and getting, right? Like, anything that you want to build is going to take time. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have to get back up again after getting knocked down. Anything significant and meaningful that you want to build is going to be challenging. So accept it and embrace it. Understand that's part of the process, and continue to learn and have fun along the way. Like, when we first learned to walk, think about us as, you know, very, very little, right? When we first learning to walk, what do? Do we just hop up and start walking one day? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We start crawling. Then we start hopping up on coffee tables, like falling down. We fall down a million times. Does that little kid ever for once say, you know what, screw this, man. I ain't even going to walk. Absolutely. I'm not even going to forget walking. I'll just crawl the rest of my life and be one of those weird adults that just like crawls everywhere. No, we get back up and we continue to walk. We don't give up. We don't say, this is really hard. We just say, yeah, it's a challenge, man. I'm trying to freaking walk. Like I didn't ever walk before. I was crawling. So for me, this is a big time change. Like this is a big time evolution. It's going to be tough. Like, let's have some fun. Let's laugh when I fall. Let's get my family to maybe help me and do some exercises. Like build the community, like have other people help you and join in. Like this is what it's about. But we never stopped and said, I'm just not going to walk anymore. We kept on falling down. We kept on crawling until eventually we got to a place where we walked. So if people are saying, hey, it's hard or it's challenging, then that means in a year or 2-year-old has more perseverance and grit than you do. So come on, people, we're better than that.
Absolutely. And I have this analogy. I can say it because I have it posted everywhere, or at least in Instagram and LinkedIn. And I used this same analogy about a child trying to walk.
Yeah.
And because we don't give up. Yes, but also and this happens also with these businesses gurus. No. Before you start, you should have a strategy. You should know that you must build a sales funnel. You must create 1,000 automations. Oh, and don't forget the pixel and everything. It's like you are saying to the boy, okay, so you know that in 10 days you will be running and you need to jump and then okay, let me see it. Fuck this.
Yeah, exactly, man. Certainly you want, if there's a little bit of a strategy or some intention that you can put behind it, of course, do that. But you don't want to put so much into it that people overthink it and then they just don't do anything, right? Which is what happens with content. People are like, oh my gosh, I need this equipment. I need this. I need this. I need this. I need to look a certain way. It's like, no, you don't. All that stuff's just in your head and what you think you need. Pull out your phone and make your first video.
That's what I'm going to ask you now. Okay, I want to start now.
Yeah.
And people made me this question lots of times. What do I need? And I say, do you have a cell phone? Yes. So you have what you need.
You need a cell phone and an idea and a thought. That's it. And it should be something that's meaningful for your audience. But literally, if you got a freaking smartphone and a thought, you can produce video content. That's all you need. That's all you need to get started. I was talking about the other day, like you got to look at progress, not perfection. So if you have never posted a video, a piece of video content or a piece of content in general, you posting a text post or a video this week, today, after you've seen this, like, you know what, screw it. Watch this interview. I'm fired up now. I'm gonna walk around and make a post. Then that's progress. Don't look at it and be like, oh, but it wasn't that good. It didn't get, only got 1 like and was for my mom. Don't worry about that. Because guess what? Before that, you had never done a post. So now you're posting. Good. We've got you making progress. Now what can you do? Learn from the post. Look at other people's posts. What works there? Take some things that work, apply them. Make sure that your posts are getting better over time. That's how it should be. It's progress over perfection.
Absolutely. And I think this is truly important. Do you have, I think now you have your own idea resource. But at the beginning, did you went to some tools? Did you have any idea?
Nope.
It was.
Nope. I hate I'm not a fan of like the Google go to Google and find some kits. Like, dude, if you're in a business, talk to your customers, like talk to your prospects. If there's a tool you want to use, that's fine. I'm not hating on it, but just guys, literally just hop on a call or when you're on your meetings with your prospects or customers and ask, you'll quickly, if you're asking the right questions, what they're struggling with. Or what did you struggle with when you first started creating content or whatever it was? There's a ton of things. There's a ton of messages just everywhere. I think what it is people aren't being intentional enough. So if you're not thinking about creating content and you go 1 week without thinking about it, you're like, man, I just don't really have any ideas. Versus you saying, hey, I'm going to start thinking about it throughout the day on my drives. Like you've got to almost incorporate it as a part of your lifestyle, right? So it's like, I could be in the shower or on a drive or in a call with a customer. We could be on this live show. I've already got 2 or 3 or 4 things that you said that I'm like, oh, that'd be good to throw a piece of content out about. I'll take some of these recordings.
To tag me.
yeah, exactly. I will for sure. But there's so much inspiration around us. There's so many ideas around us. I just don't buy the fact that people don't have ideas. I don't think that it's a lack of thought. I think it's a lack of intention. And I think they need to write down their ideas. You need to do some tactical things that keep you on track. Like I write down all of my ideas and then I'm weeks out planned for my content. It's intentional. Every morning I've got a routine where I start to create or I'll write. So I think, again, it's not that you can't do it or you don't have the ideas. I would ask you, how much time are you really spending on trying to find content ideas? And the answer is usually, well, I guess really not much. So I guess I'll Google something. Well, you don't necessarily need to do that. Just, work through what you have first, but you do need a little bit of a process around it.
Absolutely. And it comes to something that happens usually for me, and people, okay, and this I'm very provocative also. I think I figure I am. Oh, Marco, I think I'm not good enough. I don't know the imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough, and I say, oh, stop there. So let me think. Let's think together. So what you're saying is that you cannot help your customer. Oh, no, I can. And so what you have to do, look, I'm your customer. I'm a friend of yours. I call you and I have a problem that I know you can solve me.
Yes.
How will you help me? It's just that.
Yes. And I would encourage somebody that if you're trying to come up with content ideas, think about this. Like kind of like what you just said. Like imagine you're stuck in a room with your potential customer for 2 hours and you're not allowed to talk about your product or your service or what your company does or anything, but you still want to help them. What types of things would you talk about? What types of questions would you ask? Right? That's all content. You're just giving away strategies, tips, tactics, mindsets, that type of stuff that they could use without necessarily having to purchase something from you. That's it. It's not super complicated. Adding creativity and adding some other things on top of it, that's where it takes a little bit more thought, and maybe a little bit more of experience to a certain extent. But just the ideas and the thoughts, like, yeah, you just got to talk to your customers, talk to your prospects, talk to your audience.
Right, and this is for me. It's more than enough. It's more.
And by
than
the
enough.
way, let me say this
Yes.
too. Like I create content basically for a living and I help other people do the same and get results and win business from it. I still a lot of times feel like my content isn't good enough. Like I still feel like I'm an imposter sometimes because I didn't have the marketing background, the traditional marketing background or degree. So I think it's perfectly normal to have a little bit of doubt. It's perfectly normal sometimes to feel like an imposter, to feel like your stuff's not good enough. But the problem, what you can't let it do is get in the way of you continuing to make progress. You can't let it get in the way. I might have that thought, but I flush it out. I'm like, you know what? That's crap. That's a bogus thought. That's your survival brain kicking in or whatever it is. It's not a real thought, man. You're doing fantastic. Keep going, keep making impacts on people and keep doing your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because usually people talk me about imposter syndrome, and I say, look, if the level which it appears to you is like, okay, I should do this well, not just throwing something, and no, instead, okay, I have to work it, I have to put effort on this, I want to deliver something really insightful to my audience. If it's kind of a responsibility you feel within, perfect. That's for me. It's the fine line, which it's acceptable, and for me it's even good. If you feel okay, I won't throw
Yeah.
something. I want to make something really good. It's okay.
What? I think, not to go off on a side tangent here, but we talk about self-confidence and self-esteem. How do you build self-confidence? As a content creator, as a business owner, as a person, just a human being. And I think one of the biggest ways that you can build self-confidence is by going out there and making yourself proud. Commit to something that you say you're going to do and follow through with it time and time and time again. You said you were going to eat healthy, but you didn't. Stop it. You said you were going to create a piece of content. You didn't. Stop it. You said you're going to send those 10 video DMs that you're going to send. You didn't. Stop it. Go do it. Right? Like you said, you're going to go to bed at a decent time and wake up at a certain time to get to work or spend time with the kids, but you're not. Stop it and start changing those behaviors. Start changing those actions. Commit to what you want to do and then dedicate yourself and have the discipline. It may take some time. Again, it's progress, right? But commit to doing the things that you say that you're going to do and then follow through and do them. And when you actually do that, you start to feel better about yourself because you have more confidence in yourself. Confidence is just knowing that when you do something, it's going to turn out the way you thought it would. Like there's a certain certainty in that, right? And so that's all you're trying to do with yourself. So many people they lack self-confidence, or they don't have they're not, sort of feeling good about themselves. And a lot of the times it's because they're letting themselves down. And I've been there, so I'm not perfect. Like I've let myself down.
Absolutely.
The times when I feel best about myself, is what I'm the most disciplined. I actually think discipline, ironically, is a big part of happiness. I think discipline is a massive part of happiness and self-confidence and self-esteem.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you were talking about this commitment, and sometimes I go to my Facebook memories, and the other day I was seeing a memory from I think it was 2017, and an expert in Facebook ads here and in Brazil, it's in the Portuguese language. He was saying me at the October, November in 2017. Why don't you go live? Why don't you go Facebook live? And I said, okay, yeah, well, maybe. And look,
here we go.
yeah. And I say, oh my God, I made it. It's amazing. It's amazing because and people okay because I'm doing this in Portuguese. Well, I think it's the language I use fewer. It's my own language. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. And people say, okay, but you're not afraid. Do you think? I don't think my English is amazing, but do you understand me, Alex? I think
absolutely, flawlessly,
it's
man.
fine.
No issues at all.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
I see it all the time too, where people that are not native to English, it's not their first language, but they speak really good English and they're so hard on themselves. And they're like, oh, my English isn't very good. I'm like, it's perfect. I mean, you can't expect it to be like someone that was born in an English speaking country, but it's perfect. I can understand every single word. Again, I think some people, we're just too hard on ourselves. We critique each other,
absolutely.
ourselves too much.
And the other, for instance, the other day I was thinking, okay, about this talking other languages, and I say, okay, I see so many people in my own country talking their own language, and they make so many mistakes.
I'm one of those. Yeah. Yeah. So someone sent me yeah.
And by the way, how do you deal with trolls? Because I'm almost sure because your content is risky. Let's say it's risky to have this kind of funny content, and for some, when you want to pick something, you can. The garden should be amazing, but you have there a flower which misses something. Look at that flower.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, Alex?
Yeah. Surprisingly, I'm actually surprised that I don't get more trolls. It's really very rare. And I think LinkedIn's there are trolls on LinkedIn for sure, but I think it's a better place in terms of the community and the business professional than maybe some of the Facebook and Instagrams, that kind of stuff. But how do I deal with trolls? I don't even give them the time of day. Like I just don't even pay them attention. Now, here's what I will do. I'll look at the comment, right? If there's some validity to it, or if there's something that's like, they pointed out something that maybe I said that I didn't mean it for it to come across that way, and there's something that's valid about it, I will consider it. And I will think, all right, is there some meaning behind this? Like, do I need to self-reflect a little bit here? But if it's just like that to me is more constructive criticism or hard feedback. Maybe they delivered it in the not so nicest way. That's different than a straight up troll that's like, you suck, or you're bullshit, or just hating, or you're ugly, or like whatever it is. That to me, I give no time to it. I really believe in conserving your energy for the things that matter and continuing to have that positive mindset. If you let that troll who's just negative, no meaning behind it, no feed, like just negative, just hating for no reason, you have to realize two things. If you give them any of your time and energy, you're letting them win, right? That's what they want. So I'll just delete the comment or completely whatever, and I just move on. I don't even give it a second to even think about it. And the second thing you got to remember, that I try to remember, whether I'm on social media or whether I'm driving in the car somewhere or I'm out and about, if somebody's experiencing something negative and they're hating and it's usually because they're going through something that's maybe painful. So I actually try to have a little bit of empathy and have the opposite reaction, which I think a lot of people have, is whereas like, for example, someone cuts me off on the road, or they, speed past me and do something kind of that's just a jerk move. There's times when I'm like, man, what the heck? Like, I'll get pissed off for a second, but then I'm like, you know what? Maybe they had a worst day ever. Maybe they lost their mom, or maybe they just lost their job, or something terrible happened to them. I don't know if that's the case, but it makes
they lost their brain somewhere.
But they lost their brain somewhere. Yeah, they forgot to act. Forgot how to act as a human being, whatever it is. But that helps me a little bit better. Just feel good about the situation. I'm like, you know what? Don't judge them. You have no clue what's going on in their life. They may have left that hateful comment. You're like, man, what a crappy human being they must be, right? You have no clue. Maybe their freaking wife just left them or their kid passed away. You just don't know. So again, that's why I think you just don't fight it with hate. Don't come back at hate with hate. Come back at hate with love. There's been some times where people leave kind of rude comments where I'm like, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. If there's something I can help you out with, I see that you're looking for a job. They have maybe open to work and stuff like that on their tag. And I've literally commented before and said, hey, if you're looking for a job, I used to be in the recruiting industry in that area. Like I could maybe see if I can get you in touch with some recruiters to see if we could help you. And the response you get back is like, how did they just hit me with love when I was hating on them? So like, dang, man, what am I going to say back now? I can't continue to hate this guy. Freaking loving on me, man. Show me some love. So I think, you got to fight the hate with some love. There's a time to throw down and there's a time just to walk away and say, I wish that person the best. I hope all is well with them. And I hope they find their way.
Absolutely. Well, now I have to get a little bit more intentional about content, because I think one of the problems, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's sometimes to go from content to selling. Because for instance, let's talk about this funnel, top, middle, and bottom. And I think we felt too much in temptation in creating content to the top, and avoid the bottom.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe they could get upset because we are trying to sell them something, So
yeah. What are we thinking? We're a business and we're trying to sell something. What? And that's such a good point. So a lot of people fall into two different buckets. One, they start, I can see comments. Okay, maybe I just couldn't see them.
Hello, Erica.
What's up? What's up, Erica? Thanks for joining us. People fall into two different traps. One is they think that there can never be a CTA because they're like, it's LinkedIn. I can't possibly mention my product or service. There's a way to do it, but you do have to be creative. You can't be pitchy and that kind of stuff. So they end up just not doing anything, right? And they just hope that something happens. And it's not a good strategy long term. And the other side of it is people post an article, they'll just throw an article up, or they'll say, hey, our company just moved into the top 500 companies. We won the award, or, we're now selling this product and nobody cares. News flash, nobody cares about your article or your company or your product, So I think that those are the two buckets that people fall in. But yeah, you've got to understand this is LinkedIn. This isn't Amazon. Right. So you're not going to hop on here. People are like hopping on LinkedIn. What can I buy? What can I buy? What can I buy? Like that's not how they're thinking about it. You know what I mean? They're not even thinking that way. They're thinking I'm going to consume some content. I'm going to meet some people. I might learn some things. I might maybe find some customers. They're not thinking about buying. So what you have to do is create a path to realization. A path to realization, which means, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but a path to realization, that's a struggle for me. But what I'm saying, like what I mean by that is that you have to basically provide value, educational, entertainment, motivational. You've got to provide something of substance with a meaning that gets them to think or gets them to take action towards a certain way that you want them to take action towards. That's going to benefit them, right? It's something positive. But then what happens is when they start taking action, or they have that moment of realization, and then they think, okay, yeah, he's right. I should be doing that. Or yeah, that was a good point she made. I really should. Let me try that. And then what happens a lot of times is if it doesn't work because they don't have the right context or they don't have the experience, or maybe they gave it a good go, but they needed to tweak some things that they just didn't know how to do. Who do you think they're going to reach out to when they will actually want some professional help? The person that's been there trying to encourage them, trying to help them, trying to give them free things that they could go and implement on their own. That's the person that they're going to come to at the end of the day.
Perfect. Do you have any other strategies or tactics to complement this approach?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of converting, there's a ton of different ways to do it, right? So like you could, at the end of the post, you could write a cool story about maybe a customer that you've worked with or someone that, transformed their business or transformed their life or whatever it would fit into what you provide. And you could provide some actionable tips. Or for example, let me just give you a good example for today. I posted a text post today, just casual text post, but there's some meaning behind it. I talked about, hey, one of the biggest mistakes that content creators make on LinkedIn. I
saw it.
they don't go to the people who reacted and commented on their post. And I talked about, here's what you could do. One, go in and thank them. Two, offer them something. I set up a lot of meetings from going through and saying, hey, thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you, the support. I'd love to show my support back. I got a few suggestions for you if you're open to it. So all types of opportunities can come from that type of stuff. So I left people with, one, thinking a little differently, and two, there was some actionable advice to say, okay, I actually know what I could actually put this to use. And then in the comments, I said, hey, if you're not seeing the right kind of people react to your post, if you're not seeing those potential customers, or at least some of them, I know why. And I'd love to do a free review for you. So just send me a message if you're interested. Right. And I'll book probably a couple calls off that, because people will say, yeah, I'd love to send messages to the people who react to my content, but right now I'm getting 10 reactions, and like, all 10 of them are people in my industry or their friends. Where are my customers at? Well, it's probably because you don't have the right outbound strategy. You don't have the right engagement or connection strategy. And so I'm happy to share that stuff. Even when we get on the Zoom call or the meeting, I'm happy to share that stuff for free. Again, I'm providing more value. Now, if they want to go beyond that, I'm happy to talk about how I can help them and partner with them and really, get them the results they're looking for from someone that's proven. That's perfectly fine. If they say, hey, good, I'm gonna take it and go with it and try it on my own, that's perfectly fine too. But either way, it's give, value, then you receive.
Absolutely. And standing out.
Yeah, the more you can stand out, the more people are going to notice you and come to you, as long as the message is good. And again, you're a good human being with a good product or service. I mean, that has to be there, of course. But that's why, I wouldn't be here today, no doubt about it, if I hadn't done the creative videos that I did that brought me so much attention. It was something so different that nobody else was doing, especially at the time. Now there's quite a bit of people doing that stuff. But at the time when I started first creating those videos, there was 0 people creating green screen, skit type videos.
With multi-characters.
Multi-characters, yeah. And it's cool to, it's cool to have inspired a lot of people. I take a lot of pride in that. That makes me happy. But it helped me really stand out, and it still helps me stand out, to where if I didn't do those videos, I don't think I would have had the credibility or I wouldn't have grown as fast, certainly.
Absolutely. I think your presence on LinkedIn it's an inspiration, even though for some people they may. But I think things are changing here on LinkedIn, because we are also on LinkedIn. But
you also, yeah. I was just going to say, you also got to understand that your brand and you as a person, you're naturally going to repel certain people, and you're going to attract certain people. And so you got to understand that you want to attract. For me, I want to attract the bold, the outside the box thinkers, the innovators, the people that want to take risks, that want to make a positive impact while they're here. They want to go for it. They want to create. Those are the people that I want to attract. Am I going to repel certain, from the old school of like this? I don't know, this quite should be on LinkedIn or not. Yeah, I may repel those people, and that's fine. Maybe they come back a year or two from now. Maybe they don't. Either way, that's fine.
Absolutely. It's kind of this conversation that drives me nuts, which is, okay, sell me the importance of live streaming.
Of live
streaming.
Oh, live
like,
stream.
Okay, you
Yeah.
Like okay,
I don't want to sell.
Alex,
Yeah.
tell me the importance of doing creative videos, and you say, okay, wait.
That's what I say.
Just pick a seat, sit down and wait.
Well,
because
to be honest though, like, yeah, that's a great point. And like, I'm not going to sit here and convince somebody to build a digital brand and to use social media to win clients. Certainly I may give talks, digital presentations and speaking engagements, and I'll target the masses, of course. But if I'm sitting down with somebody and they say, Alex, I might buy from you one day, but convince me that I should use social media. Convince me I should have a digital brand. No, I'm not going to do that. You're not my customer. I don't want to convince you to use what I have to offer in the first place. I want to find people that go, dude, I get this. I need to be on social media. I need a digital brand. This is the present and the future, and there's 0 doubt about it. It's pretty much a fact. I just need help getting there. Can you help me get there? Those are the folks that I want.
Absolutely. And I think content, it's one of the best ways, if not the best, to do so, because, okay, I'm here, I'm making my kind of statement,
Yeah.
If you want to work with me, that's how I think, how I do things. If you don't like, it's okay, but get away.
Yeah, take it or leave it. No problem.
Absolutely.
Either way.
Absolutely. Well, can you, for those who are watching us, send a message about this topic we were talking today, how to grab attention and how to put intention in the content. Well, which could be on comments, of course.
It definitely could be. Yeah. So I think, I always teach, when I teach my crew in the boot camp, I always say, think about your message first, and then add the creativity second, right? So some people want to do, I want to create a video as I possibly can, do some stuff that's going to get attention. Well, is it going to be the right attention? Is it going to be attention on you as a business owner, as someone that provides value, that has meaning, that could help them solve their problems? Or is it attention of you doing a dance because they thought it might be cool? So think about the meaning that you want, the meaning and the purpose behind the piece of content first, and how you want to make people feel and what you want to be known for, your brand. And then secondly, to attract people to that message, that's where you think about, I think about two things come to mind. One is the copy, which is the written stuff that you put either on a text post, picture post, or even in the video, you still got space to put copy. I use copy in all my videos. And that's just hooking people in the first two lines. So don't say, don't give people the answer right away. Let them consume a couple lines, and then they have to click that see more button to actually, see, hey, what is the answer to this? Even today, I was like, the number one of the biggest mistakes I see content creators making on LinkedIn. And hey, if you're doing this, it's costing you customers and relationships. Well, you got to click see more to see what that is, right? And then I'm going to get into actually, and then I give you the value. It's not a bait and switch. I'm not tricking people. It's just getting them to continue to consume the post, that boost your post out to the for the algorithm. And the same thing in video. The first 3 to 5 seconds, I always encourage people to go back, watch your video, play it the first 5 seconds. Have you either hooked people in a story that they got to see how it ends? Have you hooked people because you're in a certain environment that they're like, what is he doing? What is she doing there? Have you said something that provoked somebody to want to keep watching? Like, hey, I'm going to show you 2 things on LinkedIn that almost nobody's doing that's going to help you win more customers. If you're on LinkedIn to win customers, you're probably going to consume the rest of that video. So you got to think about, play the video 5 seconds in and ask yourself, would I consume this? Would I keep watching?
Absolutely. Very, very good. Very good. Oh,
this was fun, man. This is a great time. We got fired up. We had some good conversations. Yeah, it was good.
Absolutely. So we are almost finishing, Alex, but before that, you have to leave your recommendations. So let's do it. And it's the section where my guests leave some suggestions, which are, don't panic, because I will recap after. It's a professional, a shout out you want to make, someone you think would be nice to follow, a book, a tool you should recommend also.
I got it. I already got it.
A habit which should be, but be aware of this, a habit which should be healthy and legal, a movie and a TV show. Okay.
Oh, so, man, I got to do all that.
Okay. Relax.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Give me your hand.
Man, there's so many great. I think about, the first thing that comes to my mind is people. And there's so many great people that
okay. Throw a few. Okay, no problem.
One that comes to mind now is Jared Greer. He helps, busy professional men and women, parents. He helps them succeed at their job, really make a lot of progress in their work, but also just more as importantly, actually, in their personal life. He helps people, find the balance, find the harmony, find, hey, how do I become a better parent? And a better spouse, and are better in my relationships, and at the same time perform at a high level in my job. And I think there's so many people right now, especially with the work from home stuff, it's blended. We're trying to figure out, maybe we're crushing it at our job, but we're falling behind in our relationships at home, or vice versa, because we're maybe doing well in our relationships at home, but we're struggling at our work. And so he really has done a phenomenal job of helping men and women work through that. And I'm just really proud of him. He got really heavy on LinkedIn, sort of mid to late last year, and has taken LinkedIn by storm, man. He's created some really cool videos, and he does text posts too, but good guy. He's a friend of mine. I talk to him almost every day, and he's just a good dude. He's doing some good things.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Marcus Chan. It's my brother, man. He is an absolute sales ninja. Like, if you need help selling better, and you want to, you want to scale your business, or you're a sales rep, or you're a sales leader, anything regarding sales, the man is just brilliant. He's proven in the corporate world. He's proven in the entrepreneur world. He started his own business, but he was highly successful in corporate America for a long time. Proven results. And I've known him for over a year now. We've just kind of been friends, met on social, and we talk a little bit behind the scenes and stuff here and there. He's given me a ton of good advice, feedback. Hopefully I've done some of the same for him. And he's just a phenomenal guy. And I think he's really good at what he does.
Perfect. A book?
I don't read books. So I'm stumped there. I actually do not. I haven't read a book in probably like 3 years.
Okay. You can recommend a blog, a website, or something?
So bad. I just literally, I don't, I stay in my own space and I watch a lot, what goes on and what happens. And I try to pick up on trends and things that I think will work. And I listen to my audience and the comments and try to get better. I'm a constant learner, daily learner, but I don't do a lot of like book reading, and I don't do any podcasts listening to, I just don't consume a lot of that stuff. And I think not to say that it's bad to do, because I think it's good there's certainly a place for that.
Yeah.
But I think we also live in a world where like there's so much of it that I think some people get lost in consuming so many different things from so many different people, and they lose their identity and they forget, and they're not sure which direction to go. When oftentimes I felt like the answer was in here. I just had to like listen to it, pull it out, and then develop it. And I get advice, that's the two people I just shouted out there. Like I'll get advice from them and feedback from them, and I respect what they do and value their opinions and stuff like that. So I'm not afraid to get feedback and advice, but I just don't do a lot of I don't read books or the podcast thing. But I will say, let's see, who's got I was just trying to think if there's anybody like just crushing the podcast game, like Billy Samoa, I believe is how you say his last name. I should know that, but Billy's a friend of mine. He's a great dude, and he's crushing it in the podcast game. There's others. Tom Boomer just started a podcast and is doing phenomenal already. There's just so many. There's just a lot of good people out there.
Okay. After the end show, I will go looking for these people.
Yes, please.
Absolutely. And now a tool.
Probably. I would say Sales Navigator is hands down it's the number one social selling tool on planet Earth, I believe, for personal touches and things like that. And then I would say also Kajabi has been big for me. I house a lot of my training software and that kind of stuff on there, and it's just been really, it's been a good platform for me. And I'm building more things on it now, starting kind of a second company that I'm branching out towards. So I'm excited about that. But it's a good platform for if you're housing online courses or boot camps or training programs. For mine, there's one-on-ones, there's live sessions, there's a community. So it's a hands-on program, but I do have some video modules, and they're housed on there.
Perfect. And habit.
I think a good habit that has worked well for me, and I think serves others really well, is the use of time blocks, the use of just blocking out time, not to say, hey, this is a time slot, but to say, hey, in this time frame, I'm going to accomplish this. And maybe it gets done in less, maybe it gets done in more, but I think really blocking out activities that you need to do that are going to move you forward, I think is such a massive deal. And I think that's why people fall short, is because when you start talking about the execution of the ideas or the things they know they probably need to do, they fall short on just like, I don't get around to it. It just doesn't get done. And I think really getting disciplined around that, discipline is huge.
Absolutely. We have Diane. Hello, Diane. Welcome.
Diane, what's up?
And now she's talking about default diary. Perfect.
Yeah.
And a movie. Frankenstein.
I'm a big the mad scientist. I'm trying to think. There's a movie I've seen recently that was like really, I'm a big Leo fan. I think Leonardo DiCaprio's phenomenal. Inception was a really good one for me. I like I like the really cool storylines where there's you don't quite know what's going to happen. I think it's why a lot of my creative videos, I try to have some type of twist ending or something that happens that's not quite expected, like you don't know where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I kind of throw you off. And I like those kind of movies. There's probably other ones. I'm not a huge movie watcher, but every now and then I'll catch a good flick.
TV show to finish. And believe me, it's the last one.
Yeah, no. Off the top of my head, like Game of Thrones, there's been some good ones, of course, but Animal Kingdom on Amazon Prime is a show that I recently caught that was pretty cool. I don't watch a ton of TV. Like during the week, I try not to watch anything. But Friday or Saturday, if I'm just kind of chilling low key, I'll do a little bit of it. But Animal Kingdom, it's not about animals. Ironically, it's about these brothers and this mom / grandma. They all kind of live in this house, and they actually like rob banks together. And there's this big family dynamic, a lot of challenges, a lot of different backgrounds or different dads and stuff. And so it's kind of like an Animal Kingdom. Like they all kind of are in this pack, but they're kind of wild animals too. So they like battle with each other. So again, there's that kind of what's going to happen next, and is somebody going to turn on somebody? And I like the type of shows that kind of keep you on the edge like that.
Perfect. Well, Alex, thank you so much. Just let people know where they can find you, please.
Yeah, LinkedIn all day, Alex B Sheridan. And you can email me at A Sheridan at impacts.com. Impacts is I, M as in Mary, P as in Paul, AXS. Or just go to impacts.com and book a call. Thank you so much, brother. This is fun.
Thank you so much, Alex. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. It was so insightful and funny, because for me it has to be funny. Otherwise,
gotta be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I look forward to have you here in the future to talk about other topics, because I think you may be a good guest again.
Always.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for all of you who were watching us and commenting. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Erica. It was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you also for those of you who were watching silently. Thank you for being there. And stay tuned, because shame on you. See you next week. It was a pleasure. I can say it, have a nice weekend. We are almost in the weekend here in Portugal. So see you next week. Bye-bye.